Alright, this video right here is a video for Ashes of Creation. 5 things Ashes of Creation must fix before Steam Early Access. Anybody who's been around in the last couple of days probably knows that I'm paying attention to this game. I've been paying attention to this game ever since before development. It's heavily inspired by Arcade, a game that I basically wasted my life on. I don't regret that at all. I love the Arcade. Hopefully I will end up loving Ashes of Creation as well. I have not played since Alpha 1, but I'm really happy with the progress they've made for Alpha 2. I'm also really sad they're going to Steam Early Access, and I think maybe I'll talk a little bit about why, but either way, this is a video by Theory Forge, Ashes of Creation, and it goes into Early Access on December the 11th, by the way, so really not that far away, and these are 5 things that they need to fix before that. Let's see.
With Ashes of Creation heading toward Steam Early Access on December 11th, Intrepid Studios is about to step into the largest spotlight they've ever been under.
My YouTube just absolutely bugged out, and I don't know why. Let me just try that again.
With Ashes of Creation heading toward Steam Early Access on December 11th, Intrepid Studios is about to step into the largest spotlight they've ever been under. And honestly, I'm worried. Because there are 5 major issues Ashes must fix if they want any hope of surviving Steam's brutal 2-hour refund window and the reality of modern MMORPG player expectations. These aren't small things. These are core pillars of the game. And if they don't get addressed, the Steam release could go sideways real fast. First, the new user experience is rough. Really rough. Look, anyone who has been playtesting Ashes for a year or more knows the systems. We know the early game, we know the quirks, but for a brand new player walking into Vera for the first time, the new user experience is rough. There's almost no guided questing, minimal onboarding, very little direction.
You know, I don't mind that though. I think a lot of games these days, they hold your hand way too much. Ashes currently doesn't do that. I think maybe they should hold your hand slightly more than they're currently doing, but don't go all the way like World of Warcraft is doing. Especially not retail. Classic is okay-ish, especially without add-ons. But yeah, like don't do what every game is doing right now, which is pandering to only the casual player base, being like, oh, we want the game to be super casual friendly. I like that you enter a world and you find things out. If you wasted 10 hours to find something out, was that time really wasted? I don't feel so. Because like, in Classic as well, it's such a figured out game that people are choosing the path of least resistance to get to their goals faster. But to me, the way of getting there is like where the fun is. It's about the journey, not the destination. And the less hand-holding you have, the more important that journey is, and the more fun you can potentially have during that journey.
And almost
all of this being said, back in Alpha 1, the starter experience was rough, but I mean, I had fun when I played. I had a full 20-hour play session on stream as well back then, and my worry is this. I think the beginning of the game is good, but after you have played the game for about 6, 7, 8 hours, like something like that, the game gets boring. It's a lot of mob grinding, there's not enough quests, but you will basically play the game past the 2-hour refund policy window, and then you might not be able to get refunds, and then you write a bad review, because the game is like, it's supposed to be a huge MMORPG, you have fun for 6 hours, and then you realize, so now it's just mob grinding, huh?
No explanation for systems that will shape your entire long-term character identity. Ashes is a complex MMORPG. Decisions you make early can affect your build, your role, your node, your social footprint, and even your PvP risk 10, 20, 40 hours later. Right now, players spawn in and immediately feel lost. There isn't enough clarity or structure in Riverlands. And the new Northern Starting Zone shows many of the same problems. And with Steam refunds, players have 2 hours to decide if they're satisfied. If the first 30 to 45 minutes feels confusing, empty, or overwhelming, most players won't stick around long enough to understand why Ashes is incredible. There are plenty of examples from other MMOs. Final Fantasy XIV rebuilt its entire early MSQ because new players were bouncing off. ESO reworked its tutorial and onboarding twice. New World added quest markers, clearer paths, and early narrative hooks. This isn't optional. Ashes needs a proper new user experience, period. Number 2, the leveling grind cannot just be hit mobs until you hate yourself. Right now, Ashes of Creation's leveling experience is basically kill mobs for hours, level up, and repeat.
You grind mobs, exactly. They need to have more of a story-driven questing experience. There's not enough quests, there's barely any quests, and to be fair, maybe that's not what they're focusing on right now. They're trying to expand the world, make zones, make dungeons, focus on the classes. They're focusing on the game, and the quests they can add at any point later, but there should be way more quests than there currently are. It's just you grind mobs, and when you outlevel the zone, you go to a new zone, and guess what? You grind mobs again.
There are some quests in the early hours, but once you pass that initial stretch, the game becomes pure mob grinding. Look, grind is not inherently bad. Most MMOs have some grind. Classic WoW has grind, Lineage 2, Dark Age, Black Desert, all grind-heavy games. But grind cannot be the entire leveling experience. Most modern players are not no-lifing an MMO for 8 to 10 hours a day. They're not killing mobs for 4 hours straight with no narrative, no variety, no immersion, no meaningful progression beats. Ashes must introduce alternative leveling paths, better story content, regional quest arcs, meaningful side quests, exploration rewards, dynamic events, more profession and gather EXP options, improved node-based missions, early narrative through harbingers or main story hooks. Right now, the grind is a wall, and most players won't climb it. Number 3, the narrative questing and
that cinematic went kinda hard though, hello?
Story systems need dramatic improvement. The narrative is supposed to be one of Ashe's big pillars. The devs said they rebuilt their narrative tools from scratch and completed them months ago. But so far, players haven't seen the results in testing. Ashes needs real story arcs, main quests with purpose, character-driven lore, regional identities, breadcrumb and side quests, harbinger-based story moments, reasons to care about Vera. We want to feel invested. We want to know the characters. We want to understand the world, and we want to feel like we're part of something meaningful. Right now, questing is bare bones, and narrative is almost non-existent. Without it, the grind problem becomes worse. Story fixes grind. Story fixes leveling. Story fixes onboarding. Story fixes investment. Look at every successful modern MMO. Final Fantasy XIV's story is its retention. Guild Wars 2 uses map stories and zone events to guide players naturally. Black Desert rebuilt its entire narrative structure to improve the early game. Ashes must bring narrative online in a real way before Steam. Number 4, the PvP experience is not good, and this is a PvX game. This one hurts to say, because Ashes is supposed to be a PvX game with a massive emphasis on.
I think things like this though usually becomes way better in the beta stage of the game. I mean, even if you look at World of Warcraft as well, in their Family and Friends early alpha versus their launch 2 years later, the game underwent like drastical improvements in the last 2 years before release. So I think this right here is too early to say. I think what they're trying to go for is kind of cool. And it just like, it's about improving it, right? Which can always be done with the right vision and the right people and the right amount of time.
Open world PvP, caravans, corruption, and conflict. But if you ask...
I really like the whole conflict system they have going, by the way, and the caravan system. I really like those two things.
Are PvP guilds? If you ask the big groups who used to run large-scale fights, most of them have quit. The PvP doesn't feel good right now. Combat feels inconsistent. Time to kill is awkward. Corruption is too punishing. There's no meaningful reward for fighting. Open world objectives feel pointless. PvP loops aren't motivating players. There's PvP, but no reason to PvP, and no fun in doing it. The Harbinger system might help, and caravans are supposed to be the backbone of open world PvP. But caravans right now, barely functional, and PvP players won't wait forever. If Ashes launches on Steam with bad PvP, the PvP community, which is the backbone of a PvX MMO, will walk. This is urgent. 5. Communication must be clear, consistent, and reliable. This one may surprise people because Intrepid does communicate more than most studios. But
yeah, as a classic WoW player, like, it's night and day difference. They actually communicate, and I really want to give them huge credit for it. They do communicate, they do talk. The classic WoW dev team, they made a mistake, and after the mistake, they said, let us cook, and we haven't heard from them for 7 months. And the one time we hear from them, it's to gaslight the community into thinking they are in the wrong for wanting more communications. So yeah, I really want to give Intrepid here some props for actually communicating.
The problem isn't quantity, it's consistency and clarity. The recent server wipe situation is the perfect example. For weeks, players asked a simple question: will there be a wipe soon? And for weeks, the answers were essentially, we don't know. It's not announced. We can't say. Then suddenly, the wipe was announced. To make it worse, the announcement was made live on stream, outside of the prepared show notes.
This is usually how legal speak goes, though, in games. Like, we don't know, we can't announce anything yet, not that I know of, or not that has been planned. It's usually their ways of saying, it's their ways of not saying yes or saying no, to leave room for those things to be later. So if you ask a company, and if you ask them if there's going to be a server wipe, and they say, we don't know, maybe, we don't have anything to announce, just take it as a yes, because that usually means yes. If they were not planning, like, or even if they say, we are not planning any server wipes at the moment, take that as a yes, because that means that they have no plans at the moment, but in a week, those plans suddenly might be there. It's a way to legally give themselves a room to say something else at any other point. And every company uses this, literally every company. I have not heard a single gaming company not phrase it this way, because if they say anything else, they basically define an answer. It's a definite, right? If you ask if there's going to be server wipes or character wipes and they say no, now they can't do it. They've said no. They never give a definite answer like that.
Derailing the messaging the team had planned. Another example. Intrepid said Alpha 2 Phase 3 would launch with one server. Some players complained, loudly. Steven immediately jumped into Discord saying he'd see what he can do. And suddenly an EU server appeared. That's not stable messaging. That's reactive messaging. In a live service MMO, your word is everything. Ashes needs consistent messaging, clear timelines, unified internal communication, PR and community teams empowered to do their jobs, fewer last-minute changes, less reacting to Discord pressure. Communication sets expectations. Expectations build trust, and right now trust is fragile. These are 5 critical issues Intrepid must address before stepping onto Steam Early Access. Fix the new user experience, fix the leveling grind, deliver narrative and questing, rebuild the PvP experience, and get communication consistent. There are more improvements Ashes needs, sure, but these 5 are essential. Steam will expose every weakness a game has. If these aren't fixed, Ashes of Creation will face the biggest uphill battle of its entire development cycle. But if Intrepid can get these right, Ashes could walk into Steam and shock the MMO world. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like, subscribe, drop a comment, and as always, stay forged, and I'll see you next time.
That was a good video, by the way. That was a really good video on, Ashes of Creation and things they probably should try to fix before heading into early access, which, to be fair, is happening. It's getting really close. It's happening really soon, man. So we'll see if they can fix it in time, or if they will not be able to fix it in time. I will say, I'm really excited about Ashes of Creation. I don't really think they have to fix all of these things before going into early access, because, like, if some people buy into it and they quit, it's not the biggest problem in the world, and even if they leave bad reviews, also not the biggest problem in the world. At the end of the day, the one question people have is whether it will be a good game. If Ashes of Creation ends up being a good game, well, that's all that matters, right? We want a good game. The people want a good game to play. If Ashes is that good game, well, I don't really think anything else, like just about anything else, matters. It's all about just being a good game and delivering the good game to the people. And as long as they can do that, I think that's the most important thing for, well, Ashes plus Intrepid. Make a good game. The one thing I'm not happy about is them launching into early access in the first place during an alpha. Because people that are buying into the game on Steam, they're buying the game in early access, and they are not really buying an alpha. And there's nothing about the page either indicating that it's an alpha. The title should be alpha test, like you're buying Ashes of Creation alpha test, not early access. You're buying access to an alpha here. Either way, good video once again. Bit of a rough start considering my YouTube was lagging out and doing some weird stuff, but yeah,